The country's banks are headed for tough times, and most analysts expect them to experience a pretty steep drop in profits due to unfavorable operating conditions. Now, the ongoing sell-off in Nigerian bank stocks will make it a lot more difficult for lenders to also boost their capital, especially Tier 1 levels of capital, in order to beef their balance sheets. Fitch Ratings says Nigerian banks might actually witness a sharp deterioration in profitability, asset quality and liquidity and capital ratios this year. Nigeria's top largest banks, Guaranty Trust Bank, Zenith Bank, Access and FBN Holdings had combined capital adequacy ratios of 20.03%, 20%, 19% and 18.8% respectively at the end of the half-year 2015 periods. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has capital requirements of 16% at a minimum for systemically important banks. Shares of all major banks have been hit by the bearish market sentiment towards financials and Nigerian stocks as well in general. Let's get the latest details now. Deji Badmus is live in Lagos. He's got more data on this story. Deji, Fitch is arguing here that non-performing loans will rise above the informal 5% cap by the end of the year. Given the slowdown that we're seeing in second quarter GDP data, do economists and analysts in Nigeria agree with that assessment?
Absolutely, Rama. They agree with that. They agree with that assessment by Fitch. As a matter of fact, I've actually spoken with a number of analysts and economists who say, look, Fitch cannot be wrong in this regard. You look at the economic environment, it's quite negative as we speak. You have our banks are, heavily exposed to the domestic market. They are not, of course, being helped by what you have, what is actually happening now in the oil industry. Prices falling to as low as $40 per barrel the other day, and non-oil growth too not doing too well. We understand it actually fell in the second quarter to about 3.5%. That's from 5% in the previous quarter. And in a situation where you have industries and production contracting as well, it's a no-brainer that look, it would affect the banks, and certainly they all agree that if this continues, and it looks like it's going to continue, because as we speak today, we still do not have the economic team in place. Buhari has not made any appointments at all. I'm talking about ministerial appointments now. So this is going to get sustained for a while. We're waiting for Buhari to make those appointments sometime in September. So analysts generally agree that Fitch is absolutely right, and that banks will definitely find it difficult in terms of their capital ratio, especially as you said in your piece, in your opening piece now, talking about the Tier 1 capital ratio, Rama.
Indeed. Let's talk about those capital adequacy ratios in a little more detail. They've been in a fairly slow decline since December 2013. Back then, and this is according to CBN data, 17.2%, then down to 16.2% by June 2014. By the end of last year, we're at 15.5%. Now, are there any plans here by Nigerian banks to actually go to the market and try and raise a bit more capital?
Well, the bad news for Nigerian banks is that the capital market is not doing very well. I mean, as you reported earlier, you know what banking stocks now are going through. There's an ongoing sell-off, and it's just certainly not the way to go. Definitely find it difficult to raise money in the stock market. Access Bank, for instance, actually put out a share offering for existing shareholders, and it just wasn't able to meet its target. So it's a bad time for the banks. Banking stocks are not doing well at all in the stock market. They're actually down, and almost all the banks, the major banks in Nigeria, have actually recorded losses this year. So certainly not the way to go. That's what some analysts have been telling me. What they are saying is that what the banks can actually do at this moment is probably to adjust their balance sheet. That it will be difficult for them if they do not adjust their balance sheet, because it's a very tough operating environment as we speak, Rama.
Indeed. We'll leave it there for the time being. Thank you for that. That's Deji Badmus live in Lagos.